Welcome back. You are listening to Nate the Hate on YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And with that, let me welcome in my co-host, Modern Vintage Gamer.
What's going on, Nate? Great to be here as always. Busy week this week, a lot of stuff going on.
Yes, it is. We are in what used to be called E3 season. Now it's just called June. But it is the busy portion of the month as every game company has come together and they are hosting showcases or they are participating in Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest. And with that come predictions. And we thought we'd bring on a guest for this episode as we're going to give predictions not only for the Xbox June showcase, but also Summer Game Fest, as there could be overlap between the third-party games. So our guest for this episode is everyone's favorite Xbox personality, Randall Thor.
Hey, what's going on, Nate? And long time no talk MVG. I'm glad to be here with you guys.
It's great to have you on, Rand. It's been, I know on the last show I wasn't here. I missed talking to you, but I have a question for you, Rand. Are you still the man with $1 million? Do you still go by that?
I am.
Okay.
I still introduce myself as the man with $1 million. I'm also just about to hit 1.4 million on Xbox, which doesn't really mean anything these days, but it meant something to me at one point, you know?
That's pretty awesome. I'm like 58,000 and I've been like 50 something thousand for the last 10 years, I think. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think we were talking before the show about Doom the Dark Ages. Like you said, you're going for the platinum or
I am, but
full completion.
I'm cheating a bit because that's on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm going. I got the 1,000. You're going to get the platinum. Same thing, right? So I don't do that as much as I used to, but I still love gaming. 43 years old, and I still love when you sit down in front of a game and it just surprises you completely. I know you maybe disagree with this, but Expedition 33, what a game, right, Nate?
Very fun game, good parry system, excellent music, intriguing story about grief, a well-crafted game.
Some would even say game of the year potentially, but that person would not be MVG.
That person would not be MVG, but if we get into an Expedition 33 debate, it will never end. It will take longer than the game itself.
Well, I think we should put a pin in this discussion when we do a game of the year predictions later on this year, because I'm sure that game
right there.
I'm sure Exhibition 33 will be in the conversation somewhere.
No doubt, it definitely will be in that conversation. But you know what's in the conversation for today? Summer Games Fest, Xbox June Showcase, as there is a lot of anticipation around the industry and what announcements these partners will be bringing us this in the next few days, this coming weekend. And when you pair that with the Switch 2 launch, a Sony State of Play, there's a lot of excitement in the industry right now. And to begin this conversation, I want to start with the third-party announcements that we could potentially see at the June Showcase or Summer Games Fest. And let's start off with 2K. We know they're going to have Mafia, the old country, at Summer Games Fest. We've seen some trailers and gameplay footage of the game. We have a release date. Beyond that, what are you expecting from 2K, or do you think that's going to be their primary focus right now?
I mean, is there going to be another NBA 2K game this year? 2K 20
isn't there every year?
26. I mean, beyond that, I don't know, Nate. Like Mafia, obviously, GTA 6 is a no-go this year, of course, as we know. I mean, well, maybe Borderlands 4.
You got Borderlands 4. You also have to keep in mind that 2K is involved with Levine's upcoming game, Judas.
That is true. And
that was supposed to be a 2025 game, right? At one point, at least.
Yeah, so then it got delayed out of the year.
Okay.
So is this a good venue for Judas to make a reappearance?
It could be. I like where your head is at with that, because I totally forgot about Judas, to be honest. It's been a little bit, so it's possible that it could show up. What about the Max Payne games or game? Is that too early to talk about, you think? Like as far as the development of the game, or do you think it's maybe time for 2K to show us some Max Payne stuff?
I mean, Remedy did speak on them not too long ago, and they had entered full production, I believe. Is that right?
I think so.
So, I mean, I don't necessarily think it's too soon for them to show something. And when you factor in their relationship with Jeff Keighley and all of his productions, Remedy usually does have some sort of presence. Now, they're not on the round one partner list for Summer Games Fest, but it doesn't mean maybe they're not a surprise. Or maybe Microsoft was able to work a deal with Remedy, because there was a time that maybe not many people remember where Microsoft and Remedy were exceptionally close. So, I'd love to see Max Payne this summer. I want to see the direction they're taking. And after seeing the technology and the visuals from Alan Wake 2, I can just imagine what the Max Payne 1 and 2 remakes are going to look like.
Yeah. I love Max Payne from the very first one. I mean, the first two games, they're legendary. They haven't aged particularly well as far as, for modern times. Max Payne 3 is a great game. I'd like to see more Max Payne. So you know what? I'm just going to put everything into the universe. I'm just going to say yes to everything, Nate. So
everything.
Yeah, everything. And something's
all going to be
to
there.
land. So I like Max Payne.
We also kind of have to consider that there is the state of play where maybe the games even make a presence there. Even though we're not predicting for the state of play, potentially the games that we are predicting for Summer Games Fest or the Xbox June Showcase could have a presence at Sony Show. So we kind of have three venues where these games could all make an appearance. So maybe Judas shows up at one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Judas really needs that formal reveal where people can see a better direction of the gameplay. Because when we first saw it, a lot of people were like, okay, that looks like BioShock, which is a natural conclusion to make. But you want to see more of it. You want to really see the direction that Judas is taking. And given that it was delayed out of the year, you want to reintroduce it. You want to get some hype around it so people can say, okay, I can see the direction you're going. I have confidence in this product. Because when you constantly hide it and then you delay it after not seeing it for a while, that confidence begins to wane. And that's not good if you're, the game developer, if the consumer is losing interest in your product because you're not showing it, you're delaying it. And I mean, let's be honest, your attention is going to shift to other products that are in your face. So put it in front of us again. Get us hyped for what's to come.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, it was kind of one of those things during the COVID era where they would, publishers would show you a tease of a game and then you wouldn't hear about it for a while. I'm hoping that those types of things aren't as, relevant as much anymore these days. I think a lot of publishers have been burnt by like showing something and then not talking about it or not showing us anything for a few years and then coming back. And the hype levels maybe haven't been as big as they had anticipated. And I think I would put Judas in that bucket. But I think all it takes is one really good gameplay trailer or something like that, with some really cool tech to get people back on board. So that'd be kind of cool to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Honestly, I think Borderlands 4 might have a trailer at the Keighley's. It is their big release coming in September, and they gotta get people to eat that $80 pill. Well, swallow that pill, right? So
Mr. Pitchford walked that back yesterday, I think, or a couple of days ago.
Did he?
He apologized and said he was misunderstood, and
I bet he was. Yes. And then he made sure to say, hey, if anybody's price sensitive, this game's free over on the Epic Game Store regarding Tiny Tina's. So yeah, we see you. Mafia definitely is going to have a presence because it comes out in August. So that sort of has to be there. I see Judas as more as a Game Awards review, Game Awards like
a bigger
reveal. Yeah.
Bigger venue or
and I'll just throw this out there in the universe because there's rumors circulating about it. I doubt it would be here, but as MVG says, guess to everything.
Everything.
Red Dead Remaster or the Red Dead 2 update for next gen and Switch 2. Aren't there kind of things going on there?
All right, so I will comment on this. Those rumors are true. Red Dead Redemption 2 is getting a next-gen update, and the game will be coming to Nintendo Switch 2 later this year.
Whoa.
All right.
Whoa, you're just dropping bombs now, Nate.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, I was going to hold that for a Nintendo Direct predictions episode, as I feel that's a game Nintendo would want to have as kind of a headliner in the Direct of, we have Red Dead Redemption 2 coming to our platform later this year. And then in the press release, they can mention the PS5, Xbox Series, next-gen patch alongside it. But yes, those rumors are true.
All right. So this holiday, you think?
Yeah, from what I was told, it should be a few months after the Switch 2 launch. So I'm thinking maybe that late summer, early fall window.
Yeah, then I guess that makes sense more for a Nintendo Direct rather than a Summer Games Fest. But all right, I got Nate to drop some breaking news.
No,
all right,
good job.
I was tricked. I was tricked. That's what put me in a corner.
You say yes to everything, and Nate starts leaking things. I like it.
Trickery is afoot. Now, I want to go to Atlas. Atlas always has a presence either at a Xbox showcase or at a Keighley presentation. We have Metaphor ReFantazio joining Game Pass this month. So we know Atlas and Microsoft have been playing exceptionally well together. Do either of you anticipate Atlas to have a presence at either Jeff Keighley's show or the June showcase?
I mean, the former voice actors for Persona 4 all seem to confirm the game recently on social media, which makes me think it's real. And I could see Persona 4, whatever they want to call it, Reloaded or something else. I could see that being at the Xbox showcase.
It's really hard for me to predict Atlas most of the time, but you know how Keighley's got Nintendo Switch 2 on his partner list, and I think really all that's saying is there's going to be some games that are Switch 2 trailers at the show versus Nintendo actually being a partner. With that in mind, I think Catherine Full Body will get a Switch 2 edition update.
What a random game.
I know. And here's Nate to say it, and I can confirm that. It will be happening.
I cannot confirm that one. I'm actually in agreement with you, Rand. I think Persona 4 Remake is announced at the June show, at the Xbox show.
Yeah.
I think that's a big get for Microsoft, but Microsoft was also the venue of choice when it came time to do the Persona 3 and Persona 4 HD remasters.
Yeah,
so,
and Metaphor ReFantazio.
Right. So I think this fits right into their, wheelhouse of announcing the Persona 4 remake at the Xbox show, and Microsoft can, and whether or not it's going to be a Game Pass game. I mean, that's the big question. Metaphor wasn't. It took a year. So I'm kind of not anticipating that Persona 4 remake would be a Game Pass game, at least not on day one. Probably
Was it a year?
little. Well, it came out in September?
I thought it came out in October.
Okay, so about 8 months.
What about Persona 6? A lot of people hoping to finally see that game.
I think you just have to keep holding on to that hope, it seems.
Okay.
We're waiting for Nate to say something.
Remake would be the focus.
So they're gonna drop Persona 4 first, and then do Metaphor ReFantazio full edition, and then Persona 6.
What about my Catherine Full Body edition, Switch 2 edition?
Listen, you can take Catherine, do what you want with her. Maybe she'll come to the Switch 2 at some point, but I don't think that's going to be an announcement this week.
You're probably right.
Bandai Namco, kind of one of those studios you can always anticipate something during the summer in terms of an announcement. Do either of you expect anything from Bandai Namco? They are on the partner list for Summer Games Fest.
I think. Go ahead, Ray.
Night Rain, Elden Ring Night Rain. I don't know.
Well,
I'm not really sure what Bandai Namco puts out there. So
I was going to say Tekken 8 will receive a new fighter.
Oh, there we go. Yes, I like that.
Now I don't remember who the last fighter they added to the game was.
Wasn't it Clive Rossfield?
It could have been, yeah, Clive from Final Fantasy 16. I think they'll announce a new fighter. I don't think it's really going to be anything like massive.
See, there have been rumors going around that people noticed on a Twitter account that a new Tales of game has been teased. And that's what I'm going with. I think we're going to see a brand new RPG from Bandai at Summer Games Fest, and it's going to be a brand new Tales of game. And considering Tales of Arise was mediocre, I'm hopeful that the next mainline Tales of game will be good, but we will see.
This show doesn't sound very good so far. It needs to start getting better pretty quickly.
And there's no better studio to do that than Capcom. They have been on a roll for close to the last decade. And we have seen some reports come out this week that the next mainline Resident Evil game will be announced this week. And I have heard similar, that we will see the next mainline Resident Evil game this week. But beyond that, I've also heard that we're going to see another Capcom game. I will let you two take a guess at it first.
I mean, that's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, right, MVG? Oh, yeah. Capcom game. Yep. Like, which one could it be? I don't know. In the spirit of MVG, I've been saying yes to everything. Mm-hmm. You know what? It's Dino Crisis Remake.
Oh,
that's what's going to be here.
I love that. Mm-hmm. Well, I wasn't going to say Dino Crisis, but first of all, Nate, I agree with you about Resident Evil 9. I'm assuming it's going to be Resident Evil 9 when we say a mainline game. I mean, it may have a different name, but that's probably what it's going to be. But as far as what else Capcom is going to show up with, I mean, I'm just going to put out there into the universe that there's going to be another Ghouls and Ghosts game that gets announced.
Whoa.
Okay. I like
that's
both.
A throwback. Okay.
I like both of those suggestions. However, the game I've heard that Capcom is going to have at Summer Games Fest this year is a new look at Pragmata.
Oh, I mean, it's about time. It's 5 years now, right?
I mean, it was supposed to be out in 2023, and they delayed it, and we haven't seen it since. And it's going to resurface this week, so we'll get a fresh look at Pragmata from Capcom. And I mean, I think that's exciting. Those two games, new Resident Evil game, Pragmata, not a bad showing from Capcom right there.
Yeah, I personally can't wait to see Resident Evil 9.
Yeah, that's got to be a big one for sure.
Oh, the rumors suggest it being open world. I mean, I don't know if I want an open world of Resident Evil, but
yeah, I don't know if I really wanted something in that direction. Resident Evil works because it's closed. You know, that's how you build tension and fear. If you open it up too much, you could possibly, you could negate that. You want to feel that pressure of you're being trapped, you're cornered. That's what makes Resident Evil. If it's open world, you lose all of that. But we'll see how accurate those rumors are in terms of overall game details in the very near future. Now we have to go to EA because MVG thought they'd be a good company to make predictions for.
Well, I'll open with what I think EA is going to show up with. And again, I'm just putting all this out into the universe. I think EA will show up with a new Mirror's Edge game.
Oh, okay.
DICE, obviously Battlefield is in development, but Battlefield will not be at Summer Games Fest, I don't think. Do you guys agree with that? Or do you not agree with that? Anything Battlefield?
I mean, I think Battlefield, I'm not going to say has to be there, but I feel like its time is now. With Grand Theft Auto 6 moving out of the way and them actually publicly saying they were being very watchful of what Grand Theft Auto was going to do. And now that the window's open, it's not there. Marathon looks like it might be lukewarm, for lack of a better word. This year's Call of Duty, nobody can really say who's the developer on it because it's not Treyarch and it's not Infinity Ward, so it might be a down year for COD. Might be the year to put out a Battlefield 6, so I could easily see that being at the Keeleys or the State of Play or the Xbox show, I guess.
I think,
and commit to that, the holiday window.
I think I mostly agree with you, Rand. My only pause I have with Battlefield is that I feel like they have to show something that 100% knocks it out of the park. It can't be yeah, that was pretty cool, but next week we're going to forget about it. It has to really, have that moment where Battlefield is back, baby. And Battlefield hasn't been back for a very, very long time. So
sad, isn't it?
It is. It is. So I think Battlefield will definitely show up at some point this year, but I don't know if it's at this showcase. But hey, they could be way further. They may have something really, really awesome to show us. But I'm going to stick with my original prediction and say Mirror's Edge. That's the filler game that they're working on until Battlefield is ready to show.
Don't you think in some way the filler game is Skate?
I think it could be Skate, but I have a lot of concerns about Skate as far as the development of that game. It seems like it's in a lot of development hell right now, and that is just like Battlefield is one game that you can't show half-baked. I think it really has to be all or nothing. So I think right now it's nothing.
I have no predictions for EA. I don't think we're going to see them in any form at Summer Games Fest or the Xbox Showcase.
Nate, what is your favorite EA game of all time? Even retro, like from the earliest days of Electronic Arts.
NBA Street 2.
There you go. NBA Street 3 is on the list.
Yep. What?
Yep.
I think there was an NBA Street 3.
Oh, there was? All right, NBA Street. And
then they just did NBA Street when they brought it to the 360 and changed the visual direction.
NBA Street Extreme is the new unannounced title for EA.
Okay, I will accept it. And we haven't.
You don't think we get another peek at Mass Effect from BioWare?
No,
not right now.
Not right now.
BioWare has enough on their plate right now.
And Rand, you mentioned, I think it was Judas. You mentioned it fits the Game Awards better. I could kind of see a Mass Effect showing up at a Game Awards, but not sure about middle of the year, Summer Games Fest time.
Yeah,
in fact, what do I know? I'm not a marketing
Mass
guy.
Effect was at the Game Awards, I think 3 years ago now.
That's right. It was that. It was that clip of, was it Liara?
Yes. Yeah.
And everyone got really excited. I was pretty hyped for it.
And it was by the way, it'll be 10 years before you play this game. If you ever play it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty around the future of BioWare following Dragon Age. Hopefully, they survive long enough to produce Mass Effect. But then we have Enhance. They are on the partner list for Summer Games Fest. If you are unfamiliar with them by name, they did Tetris Effect, which was a fantastic game. So it seems as though we're going to get a new game from them. And given that all of their titles have some sort of relation to music, I am very intrigued as to what we're going to see from Enhance this week. Are either of you Enhance fans?
I love Tetris Effect. Is this the Switch 2 edition of Tetris Effect on the Switch 2?
No, I would imagine this is going to be a brand new game.
Okay.
I mean, their last new game was just a few years ago with what was it? It was Humanity, which was you manipulated the people.
Yes.
To solve puzzles.
Yep.
You had a little dog. Very good game. Very Lemmings-esque.
I'm a big Lemmings fan.
You are a big Lemmings fan, and it's sad that Sony will never release a new Lemmings. They should sell the IP or let someone license the IP from them. Maybe someone like LRG.
I will take that into consideration. We'll see what we can do.
Make it happen. Get that Super NES edition, HD it.
I would love to do it. I'd love to do a Lemmings collection.
I think it would be a perfect release for the Switch 2. Now with the mouse controls, you could quickly change the jobs.
Yeah.
$1 million idea. Now, beyond Enhance, Koei Tecmo. Kind of a random title to bring up here, but I think we're going to see a brand new Neo game. I'm going to will that into existence because MVG is willing Mirror's Edge into existence. So I'm going to say, let's get a new Neo.
Did either of you play Neo? Rand, you must have played Neo.
I have not played Neo, no.
Nate, have you played Neo?
I played them when they came to like PlayStation Plus.
I did play the one. What was the game they put out? Not Rise of the Ronin, but the one the year before that came to Xbox and it was Game Pass Day 1. It was like Neo. I'm forgetting the name of it now. You guys know what game I'm talking about?
Yes, but I forget the name of it as well.
Yeah.
The Wolong?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that was it. Yeah.
Something Wook. Wasn't Wukong.
Wasn't Black Myth Wukong, no.
No.
It was it was like Wulong.
Yeah. Yeah, I played
that one. And I liked it. But they are pretty prolific if they're doing Neo 2, Wulong, Rise of the Ronin, and then something new again. Man.
Koei Tecmo, huh? I mean, we know that they're working on Age of Imprisonment for Nintendo.
That's right.
But beyond that, I mean, they would probably show up with something at SGF, Nate. I just don't know what it could be. That's the difficult part I have. I mean, they could be making a Musou game, but I don't know if that really fits. What do you think? Is there anything that kind of gives you some thoughts beyond Age of Imprisonment? I can't think of anything that they would be working on right now.
I mean, naturally, they are having that supervisory role with Ninja Gaiden 4, but I think that's why, like a brand new Neo game, I think I'm just going to will that into existence.
I mean, I like it. I played about 10 minutes of Neo. I think I got to the first boss in the first game and it just destroyed me over and over and I just rage quit and I never bothered playing again. But I've heard good things about both games. But Neo 3, I mean, there are definitely a lot of fans of the franchise. It's a good prediction. And in the spirit of this episode, Nate, I'm going to say yes.
That's right. You say if we can will it into existence, it can be said.
That's right.
Now we're going to go to Konami, because Konami and I'd say Xbox have been pretty friendly lately. You had a first look at gameplay for Metal Gear Solid Delta at an Xbox presentation. And the game is nearing its release. So wouldn't this be a fine time to show us the game one last time before the game comes out?
Yeah, I think so. This is one of those games that it's on the top of my list, or it's somewhere on the top of my list of games I would love to play. Randy, you a Metal Gear Solid fan? You like
Metal Gear Solid 3 is probably my favorite Metal Gear Solid game.
So you're on board with this too?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's a good pick, Nate.
It pains me because I know I'm just like, it comes out right around the same time as the new Shinobi game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I want to play the new Shinobi game, but also this is Metal Gear Solid 3, so sorry.
But
I guess Shinobi's going to have to wait.
Don't you think the Shinobi game you're probably going to knock over in about 8 to 10 hours over a weekend?
Yeah, probably. But I don't know, I can't pass up I got to play the Metal Gear game first.
See, another game from Konami that I have to bring up because it did hit the rumor mill today from Dusk Golem. They brought up the DLC for Silent Hill 2 and claims it's ready to be shown. So would that be a Sony State of Play reveal, or do you think that would be a Sony Summer Games Fest reveal?
Probably fits more of a Sony State of Play, but could very easily be in SGF as well. And when you say the DLC, are you talking about the original one that came with the game? I can't remember the name of it. Because that was a really good one. I think it was about the guy that was in his room and you couldn't like open the door and actually, I can't remember what the name of the DLC was, but it was actually really good.
Born from a Wish.
That's it. Born from a Wish. That'd be great to see
I
that.
guess I've never played that.
It's really
that does
cool.
not. I don't have any memories of that. What about Silent Hill F?
It's a good pick too, because that's another game has a little bit of buzz right now. And the other thing Konami could do, just hold that thought. The other thing Konami could do is the Metal Gear Solid Collection Part 2.
Oh, yeah. That is true. That's a lot of Konami stuff. Where's Castlevania? We're going to throw that out in the universe,
yes,
MVG?
Symphony of the Night too. Just willing that into existence.
What?
What do you
Konami,
what do you think about Metal Gear Solid Collection 2?
I think that's a little too much Metal Gear in a very tight window. Like, I think the Metal Gear Solid Collection Part 2 would be something better announced next year. This way Delta has its time. The next year would be an off year for Metal Gear, so that's where you drop the collection, and ideally it has Metal Gear Solid 4, and everyone can get excited about those games. Silent Hill 2 DLC being announced at the State of Play makes a lot of sense because we know Sony still has the marketing exclusive deal around the game. So, you can't announce Silent Hill 2 for Xbox until that deal concludes in October.
Right.
And, Jeff Keighley and Konami, we don't really know how that relationship is right now.
I think we can assume that it's not very good.
Yeah, so that might be a better suited thing for the Sony State of Play, where I think Metal Gear Solid Delta could easily show up at the Xbox show and just generate that last second hype. But beyond that, I'm not really expecting too much from Konami this summer, but they're definitely kind of on a winning streak. And that brings us to IO Interactive. They have announced the new 007 game and that it's going to have a trailer this week. What are your thoughts on the game and what are your expectations from it? As we know, this developer is famous for their efforts with Hitman. So what are your expectations when it comes to 007?
I think it's going to be a Hitman style 007 game.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you would think of the team that made Hitman, where they give you like 5 levels and all these different gadgets and ways to complete your objective. And then be like, all right, let's just transpose Agent 47 and bring in 007, right? And but doesn't that seem too
boring,
reductive in a way? Like, oh, it's just Hitman, but it's just 007 now.
Yeah, see, I'm in agreement with you. I think the Bond game that they're doing has to almost take cues from, for lack of a better comparison, Uncharted. It has to have something like that platforming, a little more adventure. It can't just be Hitman with a reskin. It has to be something completely different. And I think if you go in the vein of like an Uncharted game, maybe you're able to differentiate it enough from Hitman that people are intrigued. Because Bond can be an action adventure game. It doesn't strictly just have to be stealth. But if you have that as an alternative play style, that's always good for the player. So they really have to approach this in a way that makes it unique and that it doesn't feel reductive and it's just another Hitman clone with a Bond skin. So I'm really intrigued as to what they're going to show with this first trailer, because this could either be a huge success for them or it's going to be another mundane 007 game.
Well, you say mundane, but the 007 games are well loved and they're played for a long time and they're fantastic. Like Hitman 3 is super quality, game of the year material, right? But I do remember playing Hitman 3 and thinking to myself when, I don't know if either of you got to the last level of the game where you're in a train, a lot of people had the same thought where it was like, oh, this feels like a Bond level. Like it's almost sort of a test for making a Bond game. It was like the only level that is that like it within the entire trilogy. And I mean, I could see it going either way. I could see what MVG is saying about, well, it's just your Bond and here's a playground of stuff to do. But I almost kind of feel like you, Nate, where it's like, I think it needs to be more than that. It needs to be more like Uncharted like, but that's why I'm like really keen on seeing what it's actually is. So I can't wait to check out their showcase. But I'll have my eyes on Mind's Eye because I think that's Game of the Year worthy.
Oh,
right?
God.
I'm pretty hyped about this Bond game as well. I'm trying to keep expectations low right now, but if that trailer does impress, and I'm sure it will, I'm sure it'll be very, very eye catching. It'll be a good one, but hey, if it is just I don't want to say reskinned Hitman, because that's unfair to say, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Even if we get that, I think that's incredible. I'd be pretty happy with that.
Let me ask you this then: first person or third person?
I think
third person.
I think it's third person. I think it's third person.
I was thinking like the Indiana Jones thing of first person gameplay with maybe third person cutscenes. But
I wouldn't hate that if that's what they did. I mean, it really worked for Indiana Jones. Obviously, remember at the beginning when they showed Indiana Jones, a lot of people were a little bit wary of the first person, but I mean, the execution of that game was perfection. So if that's the style they make the game, bring it on. I'd be pretty happy, but I would probably think it's going to be third person for this style of game.
Yeah.
I want to bring up this studio because I'm sure you're going to have a lot of thoughts on them, Rand. Square Enix.
Oh, man. Square Enix, huh? I mean, they could show up anywhere, right? They could show up at any one of these shows. I mean, particularly the Xbox show, which, I mean, you did say, Nate, that you and both Jez are both out here saying the Final Fantasy games are still coming to Xbox. They haven't been announced yet. So
they are coming to Xbox.
So you would figure that Square could show up at the Xbox show and announce Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake.
That's right. I mean, my expectations for Square Enix going into the Xbox show are they will announce Final Fantasy 7 Remake, and that it will come out later this year alongside the Switch 2 edition, and that they will announce Final Fantasy 16, but that Final Fantasy 16 will release that day.
Oh, a nice little shadow drop. All right.
It will be a shadow drop. It's not going to be on Game Pass. It's just going to be a shadow drop.
No wonder Oblivion moved out of the way.
Right. Get out of the way.
We got to move out of the way of Clive. We're running scared.
You got Clive and the icons. Get out of the way. Here comes Bahamut.
Nate, I think you're wrong. I think Square Enix is going to give us Switch 2 editions of Octopath Traveler 1 and 2. Ooh. That's what we're going to get.
Don't forget Foam Stars.
And that's in anticipation for a Octopath 3 at a future Nintendo Direct.
That is the worst prediction I've heard this episode, and we've had some bad predictions.
I saw Jason, I don't know if Jason Schreier was teasing Final Fantasy Tactics, but it kind of seemed like was.
He was teasing Final Fantasy Tactics, and it seems like that would be for the State of Play. I mean, we know Final Fantasy Tactics is coming. It's just a question of when will they announce it. I am in agreement with Jason. I think it will be announced at the State of Play. And, that's not a bad little lineup for Square Enix in the span of a weekend. Here's Final Fantasy Tactics.
What about Final Fantasy 9 Remake? They saved that for the Keeleys then? They did have the 25th anniversary website popped up this year, right?
They did. Just really bad timing because Final Fantasy 9 Remake's not coming out until 2026. I don't think they're in any rush to announce it. Maybe we do get an announcement this year,
TGS
but release is still a ways off.
Maybe TGS or Game Awards. So you don't like my Octopath prediction then, Nate?
I don't.
Okay.
I mean, we have Bravely Default coming out in 2 days.
Yep. And
we don't need
Nate, if you're wrong about we go watch that Xbox show and Final Fantasy's not there, you're gonna have a lot of Xbox fans coming to you on Twitter expressing their disappointment.
Nate's gonna have his banjo moment.
This is a prediction that they will be here. This is a prediction that they will be at this showcase. They are coming to Xbox. It's just a question of when does Square Enix and Microsoft want to announce them, and do it now. Stop the wait.
Do it now. Justify me. I don't want to have to wait.
I am still banned.
I'm sick of waiting.
I'm still banned on Reddit, and Reset Era hates me.
You are not banned on Reddit. Your ban was lifted, and Reset Era just posted your video about the GBA last week.
Oh, well, thank you, Reset
What
Era.
is these lies you're spewing here? I have to correct you live on the show.
What level insider were you on Reddit, MVG?
Oh, dude,
Were you top tier, middle tier, bottom tier?
I was nothing. I was nothing, and then I went from nothing to banned. That's what happened to me. And apparently, I'm back, but I've never been there. I don't use Reddit. I'm just kidding. I don't frequent gaming leaks and rumors. It's not really my thing.
I think Nate was rated on that list, weren't you?
He's like a moderator. He's like number one on there.
I am tier 1 right now.
Nate walked in, predicted the Nintendo Switch.
Yep.
And everyone didn't believe him because everyone was saying, well, where is it? 2 days before.
Yep.
And then when it happened, he just walked in, took the tier 1, took the moderator status, and he runs the place there now.
Who's up with you there on the tier 1?
Jason Schreier.
Okay, yeah.
Jeff
about as good as you can get.
Yep.
The
Jeff
Grubster? Okay.
Yep, is also there. And it's a handful of other people. But yeah, enjoying that tier 1 status. And hopefully I maintain it.
Losing that tier 1 status when Square doesn't show up with Xbox games.
Look at you willing this into the universe.
You know what, Rand? I back Nate 100%. If he says something's happening, it's going to happen.
Absolutely. That's what I tell people all the time. If Nate says it, you can bet your bottom dollar it's going to happen. So I also feel pretty sure or pretty confident that Final Fantasy games will come to Xbox. Just a matter of when they're going to announce it. And you figure, well, Showcase is probably the best time since there wasn't a early partner preview this year, unlike the last 2 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have a preview show, so.
I mean, you also have to figure at this point, you've announced Final Fantasy VII Remake for Switch 2. How long does Microsoft want to go without having that announced for their platform? Because the game's going to come out later this year. You don't want to wait until the last minute. You want to have some momentum for your own brand that you're getting this release. So announce it as close to proximity as you can to when the Switch 2 version was announced, even though at this point it would be 2 months ago. But, this is the venue to do it. Alongside 16, people get excited, be like, okay, Final Fantasy mainline's back on Xbox. We can be excited about Rebirth coming to it next year, and hopefully the third entry would be day and date.
That was going to be my question. What do you think they do with the third entry? Is third entry just fully multi-platform at that point?
I mean, I would imagine it would depend on whatever deal Sony has with Square Enix regarding the game. But if there was no deal in place, they would probably want it day and date. Considering the sales, that Rebirth sales were a little disappointing. We know Final Fantasy 16 didn't hit their target expectations either. So Square Enix probably wants these games on as many platforms as possible at launch, because giving it exclusive has not paid off for them.
Is there any chance a Final Fantasy Part 3 or Final Fantasy 7 Part 3 trailer shows up at Sony State of Play?
No, way too soon.
Yeah,
it's just like
I think it's
just like Kingdom Hearts 4. It's way too soon to see anything for those games.
What about a 17 tease?
Oh,
too soon.
Oh,
too early.
Too early.
A 17 tease that is back to turn-based gameplay with parries and dodges.
Yeah, I'm out if that happens.
I'm in, baby. Let's go.
Now, this one's a fun company I have on the list for predictions. Steam or Valve. Is this the venue where Half-Life 3 finally comes to life?
I don't think so, Nate. I personally don't think so. I think Steam and Half-Life 3 is going to be like GTA 6, that in that Steam will announce it on their own terms. It won't be on anyone's showcase or anything like that. And they will announce it just like they announced the Steam Deck. They'll just do it themselves when they're ready to.
Yeah, I agree with MVG. I feel like Steam can just do their own announcements. They don't need to be at anybody else's. I guess the only question I would have about Half-Life 3, other than being like, it's real? For real? Like, you're not pulling our chain this time?
But see, this poses an interesting question, though. Like, what if they do drop a Half-Life 3 trailer this week? Does Jeff Keighley claim ownership as an SGF thing? Because, he's done that before. He just, sometimes, when some announcements happen during the week of SGF, he just, he retweets it and he tries to claim ownership of things that weren't really a part of the show to begin with. So what do we make of that? Do you think, Nate, what do you think? Do you think Half-Life 3 does show up in some capacity?
Yeah, can you confirm this? I mean, if you did,
Yeah.
This podcast and you're gonna be all over every website.
I cannot confirm any of that. But I mean, Jeff Keighley would claim the Switch 2 launch if he could.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
What if Steam
if anything
announces-
happens in the month of June, he tries to claim it as part of Summer Game Fest.
I could see Steam announcing a new Steam Deck. But I don't.
Didn't they say that was a little too early for Steam Deck 2 though? That they wanted to wait for more.
They did, but how long ago did they say that? It's been at least.
I don't know.
Year.
Yeah. I guess the question I have is, would this game be multi-platform, or would Steam be like exclusive to us? And you want to play this game, the only place you can play is Steam OS, whether it's on the handhelds or their own store.
I think we can look at Half-Life Alyx as a good example. It's still only available on a Valve product. I don't think Valve would really. I don't think they have a problem keeping their properties exclusive to their OS and their service because they know people are going to come over, and Steam is huge. So if that's the only platform you can play Half-Life 3 on, they're fine with that because they know people are going to come over to it. They haven't even brought Half-Life Alyx to PSVR 2 just to expand the reach of the game a little bit.
Is there really any audience on PSVR 2 though to bring it to?
There's not a big one, but there were rumors at some point suggesting that they were going to do that, and clearly it never came to fruition. So I think Valve is fine operating within their own ecosystem.
I'm going to disagree with you 100%, Nate. I think Half-Life Alyx was a Steam exclusive game because it's a VR game. If you look at the history of Half-Life games, going back to Half-Life, it came out on the PlayStation 2. Half-Life 2 came out on the original Xbox. We had the orange box on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. I think if there is a Half-Life 3, it's going to be on all platforms, personally.
See, I'm going to counter you. When those games were coming to home consoles, Valve and Steam were far from what they are today. Steam is massive. It's the premier way to play PC gaming, and PC gaming is bigger now than it's ever been.
I'm going to counter your counter and say that Half-Life is a game that will be on all platforms. There was even a Dreamcast version, remember, in development. And I do agree that Valve is a completely different company these days, but there is still one man at the head of the table, and that is Mr. Newell. And I think as long as he's around, Half-Life will be on console. Half-Life 3, that is.
So you know what console it will come to? It will come to the Steam enhanced Xbox hybrid system of the future.
Well,
what, 2027?
That's right. When Steam is integrated into the Xbox ecosystem and you can play your Steam library on your Xbox home console, you'll be able to play Half-Life 3 on the Xbox, and that's the only system it will be playable on when Half-Life 3 is eventually announced.
Bookmark this.
Haymaker delivered.
I think you both bring up good points.
Yeah.
Because I could see either scenario happening.
I mean, to Nate's point, when I did mention console versions of Half-Life 1 and 2, one was exclusive to the PlayStation 2. There was a Dreamcast version, but it never released. Half-Life 2 came out on the OG Xbox. It did not come out anywhere else. And then the following generation, the orange box came out on PS3 and Xbox. And I know Gabe Newell hated the PlayStation 3 version, despised it. I think he openly criticized the PS3, said it was too complicated. And, why do we even bother with this? So there's definitely some good, evidence to suggest that if it does come out on a console, it would probably be a Steam OS exclusive handheld system that maybe Xbox owns at the time. But we'll see. I do think Half-Life 3 does exist and will get announced. But I don't know, man. I'm not sure if it's this week.
Now we're going to go to Ubisoft because I know people saw the tease they put out there. If we even want to call it a tease, they put out a tweet of Sam Fisher and it's got a bunch of people talking. I personally am not anticipating anything from Ubisoft at Summer Games Fest or the Xbox Showcase, but do either of you think we see anything from Ubisoft this week?
And why would they do this? Why would they hurt my feelings like this? Why would they get me excited with a random picture of Sam Fisher right before the start of E3 week? Why are they torturing us Splinter Cell fans?
Because the social media community manager wanted to have some fun.
But it only makes people more upset, though, if they're not going to follow through on it. You can't just do that and then get people excited, because it's only going to lead to disappointment, and it only leads to disappointment in Ubisoft, and everybody's already disappointed with Ubisoft. So,
I mean, that's
bad form. Bad form.
So it sounds like you are anticipating something from Ubisoft.
I'm just saying. I've been trying to will this in the universe every single year, but Splinter Cell at the Xbox show. Let's go, baby. Let's do it. You know?
There was a rumor out there suggesting that as a possibility, alongside some Game Pass announcements of titles like Avatar and Assassin's Creed Shadows and other games, but no one could find the source of the claim. So I'm not going to subscribe to that particular piece of information. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think
Let me have my dream
this year.
Let me have my dream.
You can dream it.
I have
the impossible dream.
I have two.
I'll be very angry with Ubisoft.
I have two Ubisoft predictions if you would like to hear them. The first one is DLC for Assassin's Creed Shadows will be announced.
Okay.
Because I didn't like the way that the end. Did you play that Shadows, Rand?
I did.
Did you beat it? Of course you beat
Yes.
it. What did you think of the ending of the game? Did you feel like it was a little rushed and open-ended, and maybe some DLC would be coming?
Honestly, I'm trying to think. I think I don't even remember the ending, honestly.
All right.
I mean, there's the ending of where you beat it, and then there's like the epilogue stuff.
Yeah. I think there's a DLC in there somewhere.
Well, the DLC is supposed to, I think Tom Henderson had put it out there. It is scheduled to release this fall. Yeah, so
and
that'd be a good spot for it, I think.
And this one, you guys minds are gonna blow when I reveal this. Rainbow Six Siege X coming June the 10th. We're going to get a trailer. So Nate Tachanka is going to show up in a trailer, and it's going to be awesome.
I mean, Tachanka is a beast in that game. He was my main. He will be my main again when we revisit the game this month, because no one messes with Tachanka and his fire weapon.
No, dude, for
Rainbow
real.
Six Siege
Rainbow
in
Six
2025.
Siege X, the update.
Yes, the update, yeah. So we're no Prince of Persia's, The Lost Sand, or was that the one?
Yeah, it's the one being remade. I mean, game maybe will come out sometime next year, so I don't think they're ready to show.
No Skull and Bones 2.
Wasn't there some talk about a Black Flag update remake?
Yes, that's been in headlines.
I think that got pushed to next year because Shadows was delayed, which I think pushed like the DLC.
And then what's happening with the next Assassin's Creed game? Because there was a couple that were being developed at the same time.
Yeah, that's Assassin's Creed Hex. That's the right. German witch trial game.
Mm-hmm. Anything there, or do you think it's just a Ubisoft Connect, whatever they call it?
That's the thing. Usually, if Ubisoft has anything significant, they do host their own event sometime during the summer. They haven't communicated any such plans, as the company's kind of, trying to rediscover itself right now and find solid footing. So that's where I just don't expect anything from Ubisoft right now.
So it's too early for a Far Cry 7?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, Ubisoft is probably not going to turn up, but if they do, Rainbow Six Siege X.
Splinter Cell.
Because why not? The game's literally coming out next week.
Yeah, but MVG, you love Splinter Cell. Come on.
Dude, I love Splinter Cell. I love it.
And this is supposed to be a remake.
Yeah. I think so. I know what you're trying to do, Rand. Will it into the universe. I'm with you.
I'm trying
with you. I'm there with you.
Speaking of willing things into existence, the final company for our third-party segment is going to be Team Cherry, And naturally, there's only one game that is associated to them, and that's Hollow Knight Silksong. And I'm going to will it into existence. The game is going to have a presence either at Summer Games Fest or the Xbox Showcase, and it will release before the summer of 2025 concludes.
Whoa.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, Nate, you like I said, you don't miss, right? So I'm not one to say no to this, but I think I'm going to agree with you that Silksong is coming out this year. I just don't know if it's at the end of the summer, but we will see.
I mean, it has to come out of its cocoon eventually. So that's where I'm saying if you have it at one of the showcases this week, you have a new trailer, you have to date it. You cannot show it and with no date. So if it can come out between June 8th and let's say the end of September, I'll even go as far as the end of October, people will finally have some excitement around it. Because I know I have no excitement around Silksong right now. It's taken too long. We haven't seen anything. Right. And I wasn't that big of a fan of Hollow Knight to begin with. So they really have to do a lot to win me over. But this has to be the moment. It cannot go into 2026 where we still haven't seen the game. It's now or never. And I know everyone will say, oh, get the clown makeup ready. If you're expecting Silksong, this is the moment. This is do or die. So break out the bug. Let's go.
Look, it's winter in Australia right now. It's very slow right now. I think it's going to take just a little bit more time to cook.
Isn't the game showing up as part of some exposition and in some museum somewhere later this year?
Yes.
Some playable version?
It's going to be shown in Australia, in Melbourne, my hometown, in September at Game Worlds, which is a exhibition that they're showing. So
does that
it's interesting, isn't it?
Does that maybe imply the release will be around then?
Or does it imply that it won't be out by then? Because why else would it be in a museum? I suppose. I think you got
to flip a coin, and kind of make your own conclusions.
Well, there were updates to the back end of the game on Steam for the first time in 15 months. I did see that headline making the rounds.
That's true. But as someone that does work as a developer, and we've worked on Steam games ourselves, and we push updates to Steam. It doesn't necessarily mean that a release is imminent. It just kind of really means that it's being worked on, and maybe they're, preparing it for a QA pass or something. It's very hard to say, well, it's coming, right? Because they added localization to the game. Well, maybe localization was one of 7 or 8 tasks that need to get completed before the game releases. So I don't put that much stock into Steam backends getting updated, but it's also seen ESRB ratings as well. But again, you can't assume that means the game is imminent. But there's definitely things happening, and I think I will give you that it's 2025, but I'm not sure about the end of the summer. But we'll see.
Okay, all right. I would like for it to come out this year, but
so we can stop talking about it.
Yeah, how long has it been now?
Stop predicting.
I just remember, was it 2 years ago or was it last year where like Xbox employees were like eye emojis because they had a store page on Xbox or something that doesn't exist anymore?
Yeah, it had the store page. It was also part of the Xbox. All these games are releasing in the next 12 months showcase.
Yeah, that's 2022, I think.
Who has the marketing for this?
Nothing did.
Because it was originally shown at the Nintendo Switch launch, right?
It was 2019 for Nintendo Switch.
In a Direct.
Yes.
And then we saw it at an Xbox showcase, the one where they were saying, was it the infamous, we're going to show you what's coming out over the next 12 months only?
Next 12 months, yeah.
Yep.
And then we saw it at a Nintendo Direct for the Switch 2 recently.
Well, yeah, we saw a 5-second.
So my question is, who owns the marketing to this game? Have the terms and conditions changed? Does Xbox still have any say in the marketing around this? I mean, what's happening?
That's a good question. Maybe it'll show up at State of Play tomorrow and show up at all three.
Just mess with everything.
Maybe they'll be like, by the way, it's coming day one to PlayStation Plus. Maybe that's they
Wow.
ran out of money while developing the game, and they had to go get
Like Microsoft, we
bags
need
from
more
both.
money. Like, no. Sony's like, we'll give you more money. PlayStation Plus, Game Pass, day one. Like, okay, thank you. Well, that concludes the third-party portion of our predictions. As we started, we have titles like Persona 4 Remake, Final Fantasy games finally coming to Xbox, maybe a new Neo game, Silk Song finally making an appearance, and a whole bunch of other stuff that we will see how true these predictions come. We also had the Red Dead Redemption 2 leak, I guess you could call it, or
Nate Bomb.
confirmation.
Nate's banjo moment.
Hey, Red Dead Redemption 2 is gonna play sexy in 60 frames, huh? I guess you can already play it on PC, but how doesn't Rockstar do more of that stuff? Like, seriously, why did it take so long?
They move
They
at their own
prioritize
pace.
other things.
They move at their own pace because they can.
Yeah, I know they do. Yeah, they can.
But now we go into the Microsoft portion of the predictions. And what will Microsoft Studios bring to their showcase in terms of first-party releases? And what are our expectations for Microsoft going into this June showcase? Because last year, their June showcase was as close to perfect as you can get for a console manufacturer. You had huge announcements. You had massive exclusives shown. And I'm going into this showcase with the inverse in terms of expectation. I'm going in with very low expectation. So low that I'm kind of expecting just okay, that was fine type of mentality for the Xbox showcase this year. What about you two?
Last year was a incredible year for the Xbox showcase. Even the year before was very, very good. We've seen some of the best showcases Xbox has ever done, in my opinion, at least, in recent times. I don't think this year is going to be as big as last year. I think it's going to be more business as usual, if that makes sense. At Xbox, they have a lot of irons in the fire there. It's that situation where there are a lot of games that are being developed right now, but they're not quite ready to show yet. However, I still do think there's going to be some big announcements at this showcase. And before I say what I think is going to be, I want to hear what Rand has to say about how you feel about Xbox Showcase this year, as far as your hype levels and where you think it's going to fit as far as how good it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to Sunday. But if you say, like, if I would compare it to the last two, I'm not expecting it to be at like that 10 out of 10 level that I feel like last year's was. Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's only so many times, like, because when we get into predictions, there are certain games that I don't think are going to be there this year that have been there the last 2 years, which I think kind of will detract from that. I'm still expecting a very, very good show, and probably when it's all said and done, I would imagine, when Jeff Keighley does his polls at the end of every show for all these things, I'm still fully expecting Xbox's show to be the highest rated one. So I just don't think it'll reach last year's and potentially the year before. So I think those were like a 9 out of 10 and 10 out of 10. So because I think some of the reveals they have this year are on the some like on the smaller side, like, like just out of the way, like Fable, I don't think is going to be there. I don't know if Nate agrees with me or not, but like some of those really heavy hitters, I think are going to skip this year and stuff.
I agree. I think the announcement that Fable was getting bumped to next year kind of just made me think that's also a message that don't expect us to talk about Fable this year. So I would agree with that, Rand. Yeah.
Plus they showed new footage when they delayed it.
Yep.
To me, that was like, okay, this is what you're going to see this year, and we'll see you in 2026, essentially, whether it's at the developer direct or whether they wait all the way into the showcase. Because me and Nate I don't know if we were kind of having a debate, but I'm of the opinion that Fable's getting a full year delay, so it'll release in the fall. And it seemed like Nate was thinking it was going to release in the first half of the year. So,
I mean, pattern that we have seen with Microsoft on the delayed games would definitely suggest you're going to be right with a full year delay. Almost every game they've delayed has been a full year. Be it Forza, Starfield, the list goes on and on. Halo.
Except for Avowed, I guess.
Yeah, except for Avowed, but that was a strategic delay. But I mean, dating back to the start of this generation, it's just been a trend for them to delay a game a full year. And typically, if you wait a year for one of their releases, you kind of get a better version of the game. Hellblade 2, for example. So if Fable is a full year delay, it's just disappointing to me. I was hoping that game could hit kind of that Hellblade 2 window of May for 2026.
I don't know about that with Grand Theft Auto sitting in May.
Well, maybe
unless you think Grand Theft Auto's moving to the fall.
I mean, would you really be surprised if Grand Theft Auto got delayed again?
I think there's one more delay. There's one more delay.
We've seen this story before, haven't we? We've lived through it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Lived through it quite often, especially when it comes to Microsoft first-party delays. But I mean, going into this showcase, I'm just not expecting a lot from Microsoft. I'm expecting to showcase the overall conversation around it to be, well, where were all the games that we've seen? Okay. Where's Fable? Where's Perfect Dark? Where's Gears EDay? I think they're going to focus primarily on the games that we know are coming this year, like Outer Worlds 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, Call of Duty. And then we're going to get a fresh look at a couple of the games that they announced a while ago, like Clockwork Revolution. That's a game we haven't seen since the initial trailer. And then I know you and I are both anticipating a first look at Double Fine's new game.
Yep.
But beyond those two games, I'm not really expecting anything else in terms of a significant announcement from Microsoft at this particular showcase. I think their focus is going to be very minimal. I think we're going to get a shorter show. Maybe they have a little more focus on third-party games, like we mentioned at the first half of the show, like Persona 4 Remake, the Final Fantasy games. Overall, it can still be a quality show. It's just going to lack that punch of, wow, that was really impressive. But getting release dates for the Outer Worlds 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, a look at Clockwork Revolution, a look at Double Fine's new game, I think that's fine. But people are going to say, well, where's Everwild? Where's State of Decay 3? Where's Gears EDay? Where's Fable? Where's Perfect Dark? Where are all these games that we saw last year that aren't here? Where's Forza Horizon 6?
Back up. I think we need to address this, MVG, don't we?
Yes, we absolutely
We got to back up.
We do.
Because now you're saying there's no Gears EDay. Or at least, I guess we put out there, these are just your predictions, right? Like this isn't...
These are just thoughts, predictions. This isn't based on anything. But I mean, at this point of the year, we know Gears Reloaded is coming out in August. So it's very clear to me that Gears EDay is not making 2025.
Sure. I agree with you on that. But the way you said it, like no EDay, no Fable, no Perfect Dark, you said that no State of Decay 3, all these other games. No, I mean, I'm kind of with you on no Forza Horizon 6. I mean, it could be there, but I don't think it releases this year.
Oh, it definitely doesn't release this year. I don't think you have to announce it this year. I mean, right now, Forza Horizon 5 is doing numbers on PS5. Why take attention away from it? Let it ride out. Let it be a success as it's the first multi-platform entry of the franchise. Don't already cut its brakes only a couple months into the launch. Let it ride out. Find success.
So how do you think Microsoft approaches the Nintendo Switch announcements? Because we really haven't gotten any, and we know that they've said publicly that they're very big believers in Nintendo, and they're planning to support them a lot. So we get like...
I don't think you do it at the showcase. I think you partner with Nintendo and have those announcements in a direct.
Okay.
Because I mean, this is the Xbox showcase. This isn't the venue to announce Starfield going to PS5.
Is this the venue to announce a Unreal powered Halo game? Because I think it is.
I think it's too soon.
I think that venue's next year for the 25th anniversary.
Announcement, not a release.
Well, see, but this is where I will counter you. I don't think it's necessarily too soon. I think you don't need the long lead in for a Halo remake. So in my eyes, I think you can easily reveal it next year and also release it next year if it's ready. this isn't like it's like Halo 7 and it's a brand new entry into the franchise and you sort of need that marketing ramp up over the course of time. Like everybody knows what Halo Remake is. So I kind of feel like it's Gears Reloaded. They just announced Gears Reloaded one day on Twitter and it's going to come out this year. I think they give more fanfare to Halo CE Remake, so it would be at a showcase. Like they wouldn't announce that game on Twitter, but I also feel would release in the year. It would release the year it would come out, which I think is next year for the 25th anniversary. At least that's the way I think about that.
I don't know. There's something that is just making me think a Halo announcement will be at this showcase, just to remind people that, hey, we are still all in on Halo. This is a statement. It doesn't necessarily mean anything as far as, the game itself and what they got. It's really just more of a commitment to say, hey, Halo, we're back and we're gonna be back in a big way, and this is where we start. And I think it starts at the showcase.
I don't think it starts at the showcase because they're going to bring Halo to Switch 2 and PS5 this year. It's not a good time to announce an Unreal take on Halo. Not if you're going to be porting over some of the games to other platforms later this year. You don't need to show your hand yet for what's next.
So they porting Master Chief Collection then?
I mean, there's been mixed reports as to the exact contents of what the Halo going to PS5 and Switch 2 will be. But
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I sort of feel like you can't, like the game that would go over would be Master Chief, the remake, not the collection, at least yet. I mean, I don't know. Like it seems that Microsoft would rather sell you a la carte, one game at a time.
I mean, that could be what they do. They could do kind of how they originally did Master Chief Collection of here's a couple of games. If you want to get the rest of the collection, you can buy those at your own free will.
Do you guys want to hear my predictions?
How they'll roll it out will be, up to them.
These are my predictions for the Xbox showcase.
Okay.
And this is in no specific order. I think you guys nailed most of the ones I was thinking of. Obviously, Call of Duty Black Ops. It's Black Ops 7, right? I think it's a Black Ops game this year.
Yeah, sequel to Black Ops 2, I think is the rumor.
Ninja Gaiden 4, Outer Worlds 2. I mean, they're pretty easy picks. We know that they're most likely going to be there. Call of Duty absolutely is going to be there. Rand, I think we were talking before the show. I think you mentioned Gears of War EDay is going to open up.
That was my prediction.
I kind of feel the same way. I think EDay is going to be there.
Yeah,
it's not coming out this year. I don't think we're saying it is, but again, I think Xbox likes making statements. This is a statement. Same thing with what they did last year with was it Doom that opened up the show last year? And then Gears ended the show, I believe.
It was Black Ops 6 that opened the show last year.
Black Ops 6, yeah.
Followed then by Doom.
And then EDay ended the show, right?
EDay ended the show,
I think EDay is going to open the show this year. Other games, Tony Hawk 3 and 4. I mean, it's a first-party game, technically, right? I mean, Xbox owns that studio, of course. I do agree, Forza Horizon 6 will be there. State of Decay, I couldn't just flip a coin on that game. I don't even know what state that's in, honestly. No Perfect Dark. I'm going to throw Everwild into the mix because didn't Phil say, he went to check it out and he said it was looking good?
Yep. That was also Rare's holiday card was a screenshot of Everwild. Yep. So
Clockwork Revolution, I think is a good pick as well. The Final Fantasy games, Nate, you mentioned the third-party ones. Good pick. And you guys forgot about Blade. Arcane. I think Blade's going to close this showcase out.
You think Blade's closing?
We're not seeing that game again until it's actually close to release.
I like how everybody's got their own take on all that.
The game was announced in 2023. We're in the middle of 2025. I'm not saying it's ready, but
that was a hiring trailer. That was just to say we're working on something. We need to hire people. That game's not coming out until at the earliest 2027, 2028. They don't need to show it in 2025. It's going to be a next-gen game.
You forget when Arcane closed out with Redfall a couple of years ago.
And look how that worked for them.
That's beside the point. I'm saying that Blade is gonna be there.
I would love to see Blade. I just sort of wonder what trailer it was going to be because I still think they're probably pretty far from doing a gameplay trailer. So I guess it could be more just a.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, like I would love it. Now, I'm with you in the sense that like I got Gears opening, but even thinking about it, would they open a show with the game not coming this year? Because last year they opened with COD, which was releasing this year or the year, right? So they could easily open up with COD again if they wanted to.
Mhm.
Right, it's the biggest property. But if they weren't, then maybe they open with Ninja Gaiden 4.
Yep.
Because it is a game supposedly releasing this year. I think Gears EDay is there. I think it's there specifically because it's going to say 2026 at the end.
Yeah.
Very much like how Fable was there last year. And we were all like, Fable's not going to show up. And then it did. And I think it was because they wanted to be like, oh, it's 2025. Right? So I feel the same way with Gears EDay, where it's like, it's there because it's going to say 2026 and they can kind of segue into Gears Reloaded and be like, pre-order now, what have you. Clockwork Revolution, I agree with you on. State of Decay 3, I think is there. I think that's the early game for next year. So half one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's quarter one or quarter two, I think State of Decay 3 is in there. I think Everwild is going to show up. We get a reintroduction to what actually that game is, or maybe our first introduction to what the game is, because everybody speculated about what it was when they revealed it in 2019. We didn't really get a good answer for it. So I think that shows up. I think Double Fine shows up with their new single player game.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, Tony Hawk and stuff.
Replaced. Remember Replaced, the 2.5D sci-fi game?
Yeah, that could be there. That could be there. I don't think we see Kojima's OD.
No.
I still think that's probably further away. I mean, but then you could say like, well, they gave a 15-minute segment at the Game Awards 2 years ago now, right?
What was that? That was he brought out a bunch of people came out on stage, and then they showed some Hollywood film studios. That was the weirdest.
Yeah, it was
thing
Jordan
I've ever
Peele.
seen.
Yeah, Jordan Peele came out. I think. I don't think we'll see Forza Horizon 6 because I believe that's the next year's game. I don't think we'll see Fable or Perfect Dark because I personally think Perfect Dark is 2027. So there's no reason for that game to be there this year again. Contraband. I think we see Contraband finally.
I can't even believe that game hasn't been canceled.
I'm just saying, like Contraband, they showed off a logo 4 years ago. I mean, come on. Like,
yeah, I mean, it has to turn up eventually.
Yes. So you turn up here. I think we see it, and I think I told you guys my show closer before the show started, but I think the show ends with Elder Scrolls 6.
It's a good pick as well.
I mean, it's a very strong way to close the show. See, you're both going into the show kind of with those expectations of still having a big game presence. I'm going in with the opposite of having a lot of smaller stuff be represented at the show, especially from Microsoft. Like Clockwork Revolution, I don't think any of us would say is a big game.
No.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's going to be a really good game, though.
I think it's going to be really good. It looks fantastic from what we have seen, the whole steampunk look, aesthetic, and everything. And then you have Double Fine's game, another smaller game, but it can be high quality. And then with like Gears Reloaded, it feels like it's the perfect opportunity for them to announce a beta. We want to see how that online has been overhauled, because anyone who played Gears 1 back in the day knows it was a very basic lobby system. You created a lobby and you waited for it to be filled with people who joined. So show us how the online is going to, or how the online interface is going to be with this game. Is it going to be closer to what we've gotten with Gears 5 in the more modern entries? Or did you do something completely new and revolutionary?
You know what?
I just can't see Gears EDay being here, especially with the game not coming out this year. I just don't think it needs a presence.
I'm going to add another game into my predictions. Little Nightmares 3.
I like that.
We'll get a date as well. And will come out on Game Pass.
Ooh. All right. That's an interesting addendum.
I mean, I guess there's the other things that always show up at these events.
Yeah, like Elder Scrolls Online.
Elder
will
Scrolls
have a
Online,
presence, it'll get
Fallout
new
76,
content.
I'm sure
Sea of
Right.
Thieves.
I'm sure Flight Simulator
right?
will get some really cool update that I'm going to jump all over.
Yeah.
I love that game.
All that type of stuff. I mean,
How is
Starfield-
Flight Sim these days? Because that was a big disappointment when that
Rand,
launched.
as the resident flight simulator expert, I have over 200 hours on that game. I have my commercial pilot's license. It had a very, very shaky start. I got to the point where I had to stop playing it because it was so buggy. But they have done a lot of work on it since, and it is much better. It's not perfect. A lot of people still prefer, believe it or not, X, or the previous one. Was it
2021?
2021. But it's getting there. They finally added the marketplace recently, and it's really good. It's really, really good. I love that game.
Yeah,
it's a good time.
No, it's good. It's good that it's turned around because man, at launch that game, I couldn't even get it working.
Yeah, it was not in a good place. So that'll get some type of update as well, I'm sure.
What about ZeniMax Online's new game that they've been working on for 5 years now?
I still think it's
the new IP that they've talked about 5 years. I mean, you're gonna have to reveal it at some point, right?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like this year is going to be that year. I mean, for ZeniMax and Bethesda, I'm thinking the only thing we're going to get from them outside from Elder Scrolls Online is going to be the Starfield expansion that's supposed to be this year and Indiana Jones DLC. But you don't necessarily have to show them at this show.
You don't.
You could those can be tweets.
Or they could be at the Keighley show if you'd be like, here's the Indiana Jones stuff.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, even Gears Reloaded, that could easily be part of Summer Games Fest to announce a beta with a new trailer because it's a multi-platform release. It was tweeted as that. It was announced as such, so you don't need it at the Xbox Showcase. And if Gears Reloaded isn't at the Xbox Showcase, that's where I don't think EDay makes a presence.
I mean, I foresee a lot of disappointed people if EDay is not there because I think that's one of the games people are really looking forward to seeing.
Oh yeah, I mean,
as that game.
The thing with Gears EDay, especially when you look at the history of Gears of War games, is that every Gears of War game was always announced the year before it releases. It was always a 1-year gap. So this would be the first time that they buck that trend.
Well, I mean, people were saying, Tom Warren, one of them was saying the game was targeting fall 2025, and I mean,
it's unfortunately they missed the target.
Nate, yeah. I feel like you're just poking holes in all our games. Are there any games that you are thinking about that we are not considering?
I feel what I feel like. I feel like he's arguing with us, and he's arguing with us from a position of knowledge versus our wishes and dreams.
He's probably got the list in his hand.
I do not have any list in my hand. I just have a hard time seeing Microsoft deliver another high-end show.
So
you're not going to show Fable again. You're not going to show Perfect Dark again. It's too repetitive at this point. You can't do 3 years in a row.
There's a couple of things that I think we all agree that Microsoft isn't going to deliver a high-end show, but you're making it sound like this could be over in about 30 to 40 minutes. And I'm thinking this is like at least an hour. But then
it's still going to get at least an hour presentation. But I think their focus for this year is the Outer Worlds 2. That's kind of their tentpole release for the second half of 2025.
I don't think there's enough meat on the bone for that.
Well, I mean, yes, but it seems like as though their focus for the showcase is the Outer Worlds 2. Let's put it this way. If you had a bigger game than the Outer Worlds 2, the Outer Worlds 2 wouldn't have a direct immediately following the presentation.
It's true.
Well, that's why everybody thinks Gears EDay is next year, because otherwise it would be the fall game. But then again, why would you also release Gears Reloaded the same year, a couple months apart? Doesn't really make sense. What about something Project Shaolin? The Wu-Tang game, or Spyro 4 from Toys for Bob.
What about Project Mara?
Yeah, Project Mara from Ninja Theory.
Ninja Theory has been busy porting Hellblade 2 over to PS5. I mean, doesn't it feel a little too soon for Spyro 4 from Toys for Bob? They only gained their independence, a year ago?
Yeah, but I mean, they could easily have a cinematic CGI trailer. You don't need the show, for an announced trailer. You don't need all the bells and whistles.
True, but would you really? I mean, that kind of fits into my expectation of it being a smaller showcase. Or is Spyro considered a bigger game?
I mean, depending on who you talk to, Spyro's their favorite game.
I mean, you're not wrong. So, I mean, that's the thing. I'm just kind of viewing the show as a smaller show, some nice updates and refreshers on games we haven't seen in a while. But any of the games that we have seen in the last 12 months, we're probably not going to see again. They're going to be held until Microsoft has meaningful information to share with us. So we'll see Fable again when they can actually give us a release date. We'll see Gears EDay again when they can give us a release date. And I don't mean just a year. They can actually give us a month and day.
It would be a year from now because you don't really get release dates that early, especially with Grand Theft Auto. Not knowing if, I mean, they have Grand Theft Auto has a release date, and everybody still thinks it's going to get delayed. So,
well, I mean, let's say Microsoft has their show in January next year. They probably by then there'd probably be some industry whispers whether or not Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be delayed, and they can also say, okay, well, it's January. Let's communicate some of our plans, assuming the game's still coming out in May. So whatever their second half lineup would probably be unfazed. Maybe their first half lineup, they'd adjust some of the release dates, say, okay, let's not release something in the first week of May. We'll hold that until the first week of June. Or if we can move it up to, let's say, early April, we'll do that.
what about, with the success of Oblivion Remake and the popularity of Fallout IP with the show coming back in December, any chance of a Fallout 3 remake tease?
I think it's too soon.
Yeah.
Like okay. Oblivion only wrapped up development, let's say they wrapped it up in December and they would begin work on a Fallout 3 remake remaster. Are you really ready to show anything at this point? I mean, yeah, it'd be good to capitalize on that hype, but even to your point, it'd also be good to capitalize on the hype of Oblivion with the Elder Scrolls 6 closure. Close on that, huge note. People get excited. And even if the game doesn't come out until the turn of the decade in 2030, it's something that people can cling to and say, okay,
I mean, hell,
look forward to.
Elder Scrolls 6 announcement would be massive. I'm sure there'd be people out there like, when's it coming? Because I don't expect a date on that. But
right.
What about I don't know, Minecraft Dungeons 2 from Mojang?
I like.
I know. I mean, that's.
I like it. They're throwing everything out there, just like I said.
Some of those projects out there. I mean, does the project with IO is that still a thing?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Point. That's the thing. There's definitely a lot of possibility.
Could there be another reveal of a game like Ninja Gaiden 4? Like, sure, everybody's thought like when the direct came, we all knew it was Ninja Gaiden 4, but nobody had a clue that it was actually Microsoft publishing it and the reason the game even exists. So there could be another announcement of a game that maybe is rumored, but then Microsoft's involved in of a project that they've been working on for a while. You think we could get something like that? Like, there's a rumor that the ex Rocksteady guys are partnering up with Microsoft for their game. The people that left, Sefton Hill and the team that left Rocksteady. So, do they?
Maybe. I mean, that's the thing. If they could use a trailer for recruiting purposes, maybe we got that type of trailer.
It's funny, MVG, because the way Nate talks about this show, it's almost like he's like, I'm expecting a 6 out of 10, or at least, I'm like expecting like an 8 type of show.
I'm somewhere in between those two. I think it's probably about a 7.5.
And it's just like Nate's almost like it's a 4. Like it's it's the mind's eye of showcases or something.
Yeah. I want Microsoft to prove me wrong. I want them to come out and say, here's Gears EDay. Here's, a fresh look at some of our bigger games. But I think Clockwork Revolution and the new game from Double Fine, I think that's fine right there. Those are 2 games that could potentially be really good, could look fantastic. And I don't think that's a bad showing for Microsoft. It's just that when you set the bar so high in previous years, it's impossible to live up to that. And with Gears EDay being delayed or not releasing this year, with Fable being delayed out of this year, that kind of takes significant wind out of your sails. So, do you come in with Forza Horizon 6 just to be like, hey, we need something that's kind of megaton? maybe. I just can't see that happening.
All right, I have one more question about this, and we should probably get into the questions. But I wanted to ask Nate. I think Rand kind of asked the question before, but maybe it kind of got lost in the shuffle. But will they announce any Switch 2 titles, PlayStation 5 titles, and an Xbox showcase? Will there be
I can't envision
a Switch 2 logo at the end of a trailer, or is it just going to be Xbox and PC and Game Pass?
I mean, if the games are multi-platform releases, they can have those logos in it. But I mean, as far as actually just coming out and be like, oh, here's an Age of Empires port to Switch 2, and I can't see them doing those type of announcements here. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, like Starfield, if the Starfield DLC is announced, I'm sure it'll just have the PS5, Xbox, PC logo on it. They already did that for the Direct.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see why they would shy away from it in their own show, because that's just what they are now.
That's what I was thinking.
But they haven't announced Starfield for PS5 yet.
No, but I mean, they could easily show the trailer, and then the trailer ends with the date for when it's coming, and then like PS5 logo, the Xbox logo, and then after the show, maybe some press release comes out, and it's like Starfield is launching X date for PS5, right?
I mean, right. I mean, that's the thing. Is how are they going to handle that type of an announcement?
Easy.
Like Starfield going to PS5.
Easy. First on Game Pass. Or whatever. Day one on Game Pass.
Yeah, but I mean, well, the problem is Starfield DLC isn't included with Game Pass, just the base game.
Yeah. What about Project Keenan? What about hardware?
Thinking about that too. Would they announce some type of hardware announcement? I think it's unlikely, personally speaking. I mean, we know that there are things going on there at the moment, and we do expect some announcements. I don't think at this showcase we'll hear about Project Keenan or any type of hardware, personally speaking.
I think we definitely hear about it this week, whether that's at Keighley's show or the Xbox show or a press release and some trailer after the show or some interviews about it. I think it gets revealed this week.
We definitely hear about it. Interesting.
I think so.
Okay.
Because I think it's launching this fall. So
I mean, that's the thing. Maybe they touch on it. I don't think they'll do it at the showcase itself.
I could see it being like a trailer during the Summer Games Fest.
Yeah, I could see like a Summer Games Fest because it's a partner device, and that's the thing. So you could have Asus just be part of Summer Games Fest and say, here's our new product coming out later this year, and partner with Xbox. And there it is. Like, you don't have to make a big spectacle of it because we know the sales potential of it is pretty low.
What about Game Pass announcements? Like, hey, we're bringing more Activision games to Game Pass, or we're reopening backwards compatibility. You know, like that.
I mean,
sort of stuff.
I mean, I expect some sort of Game Pass announcements. Of just varying degree. It's just a question of what will they secure that's going to be kind of like, oh, cool, that's awesome. It's coming next month, or it's coming later this month as that big deal. Because that's kind of a trend for them as well. Just like Sea of Thieves, we're going to get, the typical, oh, here's a random expansion or DLC or crossover or whatever. And then we have to get the release dates for games like The Outer Worlds 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, Call of Duty, all that stuff. Actually, for release dates, what do you expect for those 3 games? What do you think the release order is going to be?
For Call of Duty, what are the other 2 games you said?
Outer Worlds 2, Ninja Gaiden 4.
Oh. Well, when does Call of Duty usually drops in October?
It's usually late October, early November.
I don't see that changing. I mean, they've got that cadence. They've had that pretty much since the start, so that's just going to continue. I think it's really putting the games around that. Outer Worlds I don't know. I mean, is that your holiday game where it's a little later on? But I mean, you couldn't really make it that much later. But then again, Microsoft, they dropped Indiana Jones in December. So I don't know. That's a good question. Ninja Gaiden, maybe September. And Outer Worlds is later after Call of Duty. But hey, I I'm just throwing darts at a dartboard at this point with that stuff.
Yeah, I'm thinking Outer Worlds 2 in September.
So you're flipping them around. Outer Worlds 2 in September, Ninja Gaiden later.
And then like either Call of Duty in October and Ninja Gaiden in November, or Ninja Gaiden in October, Call of Duty in November.
Yeah.
Is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm going with Outer Worlds 2 September, Ninja Gaiden 4 early October, and then Call of Duty either late October or its usual window. And then if you have the Starfield and Indiana Jones DLC as well this year, you have to slot those in somewhere.
Yeah, plus new seasons of Sea of Thieves and all those other things that they do. What do you think? Because early October is also Ghost of Yotai. Do you think Microsoft may want some space between that and Ninja Gaiden 4, or are they different of a type of games where...
I think they're different enough that there's not going to be too much overlap.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, the Xbox showcase is either it's going to be very exciting if they can conclude with a brand new Elder Scrolls game, or it's going to be a show where everyone kind of watches it, says, that was fine.
So what do you have closing the show then?
Yeah, there has to be a big closeout.
Because MVG, what was your... You were
Blade.
saying what, Halo?
I said
right?
Blade.
Oh, you said Blade's closing the show. Okay. So what do you got? What do you got closing, Nate?
I mean, you got to imagine Double Fine's game is probably somewhere in the first half. Clockwork Revolution,
which has already closed the show, by the way, in 2023.
Yeah, I don't know if you can repeat that. I don't think you can close it with that. I wouldn't be surprised if that kind of opens the show, or it's at least within the first, 15 minutes or so. What would I close? Maybe I'd do the inverse of last year. I close with Call of Duty.
I was thinking about that. You could close with Call of Duty and it would still be pretty hype.
Oh, man. I do not want that.
Really? I mean...
put Call of Duty in there. I just don't want it to... this is one of the fears I had when they bought it. It was like, okay, we're going to see Call of Duty every single thing, and now it's taken up... I'm fine with it opening the show, but closing the show, that I don't like that. I don't like it.
What if they close with the Outer Worlds 2 and then have the little segue of stay tuned for a deeper look?
But didn't they do that already with the Outer Worlds 2?
They've the last 2 years. There's a Starfield. The Starfield trailer was in the middle, and it was like, stay tuned for the Starfield Direct, and so you had to watch half the show just in case you tuned out.
Yeah, because the Outer Worlds 2 was only announced at the Game Awards.
So what do you have opening and closing then? Because me and MVG got Gears opening. He's got Blade closing. I got Elder Scrolls 6 closing. What's your opener and closer then? Put him on the spot. I love it.
Yeah. Let's go.
Close with Call of Duty or the Outer Worlds 2, or
playing it safe.
Open with
playing it safe. I see how it is.
Mm-hmm.
You could open with Ninja Gaiden 4.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. I want them to come with something big and unexpected. I just don't know what it would be, because we have so much of what's in their pipeline already. We've seen basically their entire pipeline. And there's just too many games you cannot show up with again this year.
All right.
I mean, maybe Contraband does show up. I just can't see Everwild being.
If Contraband doesn't show up, isn't there people going to be like, is this game canceled or what? At that point?
Yeah.
I think you overestimate how many people remember Contraband's a thing.
Well, I'm sure Microsoft remembers, considering they're still paying them.
Yeah, they definitely remember. And I guess they see something that they think is going to be good because they keep paying it and don't cancel it.
Oh, man. I mean, I really like MVG's idea of Blade. I could really see some Blade.
Ready to get banned on Reddit all over again. Let's go.
Well, with that, we'll go to the YouTube member questions. And the first question comes from Astro Heartsbot. Hey, Nate, will Kingdom Hearts 4 and Mouse PI for Hire be at Summer Game Fest? Kingdom Hearts 4, no. Mouse PI for Hire? I don't know, but I'd love to see it again because I love that visual aesthetic. Then we had Epsilon Nate 10. Hello. What are the chances that we will see a new Banjo-Kazooie game announced during Summer Game Fest or the Xbox Showcase?
Here we go.
I am not touching this question.
Banjo.
Not touching this question.
What if that's the show closer, Nate?
You think they just show like a puzzle piece and you hear hoo-hoo?
You can go on your redemption tour for that.
Yep. But someone will say, the statute of limitations has long passed, so it'll be null and voided.
The bird and the bear are back.
I mean, I'd say the chances are basically zero.
Mm.
And we had Fangs the Wolf 6459. Hi there. What are the chances that more PS5 and Switch 2 ports are announced during the Xbox event itself?
Well, we kind of touched on this. I mean, there's going to be some games that obviously come to Xbox, to PlayStation and Switch. Other than just the logos, I don't think Xbox would or Microsoft would acknowledge them. Personally.
Yeah, there's no way a Forza Horizon 5 trailer is specifically there just to announce
like
a Switch 2 version, right?
Unlikely.
But if Forza Horizon 6 is revealed, I would imagine it would have all the logos of all the platforms it'll eventually release on.
Yeah.
Right. Any brand new announcements would have the multi-platform, but I can't see Microsoft announcing ports at the showcase. I mean, if we get to that point where they're announcing old game ports for these platforms during their showcase, then that means Microsoft ran out of content and they're just trying to fill time.
Yeah, I mean they've done a good job of basically just announcing those ports on social media on Twitter. So they haven't even used Sony's State of Play to do that, where you could easily have done Indiana Jones or Forza Horizon 5 at a State of Play. They just announced them on Twitter. So.
Then I had a question from Victor Manuel Perez. Hello, gents. Any thoughts on an official announcement by Sony or ShiftUp of Stellar Blade 2 being in the State of Play tomorrow, as ShiftUp has confirmed it's working on a sequel to the game to their investors?
Wasn't there something about how there's some plan with the IP to bring it like multi-platform or to more platforms?
People may have misread what the investor chart was actually saying. It said platform expansion. So people took that to mean it's going multi-platform instead of the IP itself being the platform that's expanding with crossovers and stuff like that. So it depends on how you want to interpret the term platform and what it was referring to. But as for a sequel, given that the game is coming out on PC this week, I think it's too soon to announce a sequel. Then the last question from YouTube members comes from Zombie Porin. Hi. What do you think Sega reveals this weekend, if anything, and where would they do it?
Oh, Sega, huh?
Well, they just turned 65 years old this week. So, they're riding high on a lot of momentum and a lot of nostalgia right now. So there's they could do something.
I mean, they do have the Sonic Racing game that'll probably get a new trailer. And it's also had a bunch of content leaked for it with a SpongeBob, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Minecraft, and such crossover content. So we probably see some of that officially get confirmed.
And technically Atlas is part of Sega, right? So any Persona announcements.
Yeah. So Persona 4 remake, things of that nature.
What about, didn't they announce that like big initiative where they were bringing back like Crazy Taxi and
the mega games or whatever?
Yeah. You think we get any more of those? Is Shinobi one of theirs? Like the Shinobi game that's coming out this year?
Shinobi was part of their Renaissance announcements.
Crazy Taxi was one. They had Jet Set Radio. I think
Jet Set Radio, Crazy
Axe
Taxi,
was another one.
Shinobi, and
Golden Axe?
Streets of Rage.
Streets of Rage, that's right.
That game is coming along, but I don't think they're ready to show it. Then had a question from Streamlabs from Eric PSX. Hello, Nate. Do you think the rumored Castlevania game is still in development? Any chance it may get announced at any of the events this summer or fall? I mean, I haven't heard anything to suggest the game's been canceled, but I also haven't heard any update as to the status of the game in general. I hope that a new Castlevania game is in development. As to when we will see it, given the way Konami kind of handles their announcements and reveals, I'm kind of leaning more towards next year, but maybe they'll surprise us this week or this year and give us a new trailer or give us a first look trailer at their direction for a brand new Castlevania game. That is the last community question for this episode. I'd like to thank MVG and Rand for joining me.
It's good to be here and hear you basically just crap all over Xbox's show. It was great.
I mean, people call me an Xbox fanboy. What would
you're gonna drop this episode tomorrow, and you're gonna have to answer some questions on Reset Era from panicking Xbox fans.
They're predictions, not leaks.
Yeah, prediction. Well, you see, with you, people just assume your predictions are leaks, though.
I was very clear with the Red Dead stuff that I was confirming a rumor and everything else is a prediction. If I say I can confirm it, that's a leak. If I don't say that, it's a prediction. Will some predictions come true? Yes.
It was a pleasure to be on tonight. Rand, thank you for joining us. I always enjoy your company when you come on and talk to us. So much appreciated, sir. And yeah, I agree with you. Nate's just, I don't know. He's just low key, not feeling it. The Xbox showcase. I think it's going to be a good one. So we'll have to see how it turns out. I'm confident.
Yeah, if Gears EDay doesn't show up, I'm gonna DM MVG. I'm like, this guy knew. Nate knew.
Yeah, he's got the list. He's got the list.
He knows.
It's a damn shame. Can't even give predictions without scrutiny. But let us know your thoughts in the comment section below for what you expect at Summer Games Fest and the Xbox Showcase. Will Gears of War EDay be there?
Yes.
Will a Persona 4 remake be there? Will Final Fantasy 7 remake and Final Fantasy 16 finally be confirmed for Xbox?
Yes.
Will Silksong release this year?
Yes.
MVG is modifying a lot of his predictions live right now. Well, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. And until next time, continue to embrace the hate.
Dissecting all the lies. Make the hate rocket hard. MVG dropping knowledge bombs. Best podcast sitting strong, guiding us where we belong. Through the pixels and the codes, breaking down what future holds. Nate and MVG showing us the gaming gold.